Yeah. Oh, I hope not. I hope not. It's one of those things where I think Azure was just missing a killer instinct. You know, he was maybe respecting his opponent too much. Maybe he was a little bit scared to throw away his lead, right? Like, there's a lot that can come into play there.
Yeah, he's a lover, not a killer.
Yes, I never thought I'd say he's got a lot of love. Sure, yeah.
Old mate Craig. But speaking of old mate Craig, here we are now on Data C, which the programming means that I got none. Top right hand corner map, starting all the way into top right hand corner. Our blue Terran player coming up from the land of Brisbane. Prince of Brisbane, if you want to call him that. He is, of course, going to be representing Team Opus V. If I remember that right. He is Azure. Aye.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Data C, we have the Filipino Zerg player himself. He is red, representing the Juggernauts. It is EnDerr. The exclamation mark pull out in the chat. I know it doesn't do anything, but I have to do it. Yeah. Oh god.
It's a placebo, really.
It is.
In the end.
But here we go. Go on.
I was gonna say you should teach that. Yeah.
Teach that?
To aspiring Zerg players.
Pulling out?
No, the myths. You know, exclamation mark pull out. You know, doesn't actually do anything.
There you go.
It's a placebo.
Yeah. You got to actually do it. You know, the command.
Yeah. I don't know if you can teach Zerg players to pull out.
I mean, it's one of those things where I always say, "Do as I say, not as I do."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, what's the other saying? For those who can't do, teach.
Yeah. Those who can't teach PE.
Yeah. You got some long-standing resentment.
That's just what they say.
You got some long-standing resentment. I'm sensing here.
That's just how the saying goes. Chase Yaku. Haven't you heard that before?
No, I've heard that because I've heard, you know, for those who want to teach PE, learn something else. It's like, what's the saying? It's like, you know, there's never actually an actual PE teacher, so they just drag a teacher from some other subject. That's my understanding.
That does happen.
No such thing as an actual PE teacher.
Oh god. Meanwhile, across the map, some nice spiker here by Azure. Almost gets a drone. Gonna try and dive in and get a second. Can he get it? No, he cannot. Does force a second spore. Even forces some lost mining time. Yeah,
that's a lot of drones being pulled here, in addition to the spore crawlers that now need to be cancelled. Keeping the drones alive by turning them into spore crawlers, it's a neat little trick, but at the same time, if you make too many of them, you keep too many drones alive, well, you're kind of wasting a little bit of money. You don't get a full refund when you cancel them.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. But so far, the openers are looking pretty standard. We do have a 1-1-1 here from Azure, third CC before Starport. What we would expect, but expect the unexpected when it comes to the Zerg player. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's my eyes are definitely a lot more on EnDerr, even though I'm much more excited to see Azure play Terran here. And speaking of keeping my eyes on EnDerr, I kind of regret doing that, because that's 20 lings in the production tab. That's the Reaper dying before it can scout all of these lings.
Oh no.
Things are not looking up for Azure whatsoever. He has a couple Hellions.
The wall is nowhere near being a wall, Yaku. There is no wall. There's nothing here. The lings are coming across the map. There was no third base behind. This is now only just now being thrown down. It was delayed for the Ling Flood, and the Ling Flood is coming. They're going to get a full surround of the Hellions.
Whoa, the main wall also isn't a wall. EnDerr is able to slip on in, and the Hellions are getting a little bit of damage, but nowhere near enough. Viking will have to be landed, and I'm not convinced Viking can really do much. 8 SCVs have already gone down. And there's more where that came from, to say the least.
The final heli gets surrounded as well. No, as it comes out of the production, Lings are out of control. As you were saying, the Vikings trying to do whatever he can. Boys are being pulled offline as well. He is trapped here in the main base. He cannot go towards the natural nut again. The Lings are finally going to get cleaned up, but they have paid for themselves, Yaku.
Yeah, the SCV damage definitely could have been a lot worse, but let's not forget, EnDerr didn't just kill Lings here. He killed, what, 5? Yeah, 5 Hellions as well. Completely disrupted the not just the economy of Azure, but also the entire game plan. Azure, he was banking on having Hellions out. He was banking on being able to go across the map by now with a decent number of Hellions, take that map control, and it's completely forfeit at this point.
Oh, exactly. Like, that was an opener from EnDerr that, sure, it delayed his economy, sure, it delayed his hatchery, but because of the amount of damage that he dealt, not just to the Hellions, but also to the SCVs, also to just the production itself of Azure and knocking him off balance, it's worth it anyway. EnDerr, he's even taking a very fast fourth. Jesus.
Yeah, he knows exactly how safe he is. He knows that those Hellions aren't going to be able to accomplish much, but maybe a battle cruiser might.
Maybe, as the fusion core did finish up. Quickly checking the vision of EnDerr. Did he see? No, he did not. The fusion core was thrown down after the Lings were cleaned up. So this is the way back into the game here for Azure. If EnDerr doesn't make enough queens, then he will be vulnerable to these BCs. And looking at the units tab, EnDerr has 1 queen for each base to eject, essentially.
There we go. That's yeah, not quite. That's not quite the number of queens you want to have when it comes to dealing with battle cruises. And he's just stopped producing queens as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's very Miyamika-esque in that regard, where he's only concerned with injecting queens. And to be fair, because of his build, because of his opener, like, you want to save your minerals not for queens but for Lings instead, as he's making another wave of Lings behind this. So we'll see if Azure can defend against the counterattack and also deal damage with his BCs at the same time.
Yeah, he kind of needs to make a choice. Does he go across the map or does he stay at home? Either way, I feel like Azure is setting himself up to be pretty safe regardless. He does have that wall in natural base. He is keeping some Hellions in choke point. He's even going for mech behind this, which is, you know, it's a little bit more difficult now that his initial plan was disrupted, but still definitely doable.
Definitely. Meanwhile, the mass link flood is going to rock up here, going to take out every single worker at the third base. Hellions are doing a decent job for the time being. Have to be very careful not to get surrounded, but the BC reveals itself, and now EnDerr immediately throws down the Spire.
Yeah, oh my lord, even more SCVs starting to go down here. This I'm really digging the kiting coming down from Azure. That was a kill and not a cancel, which is unfortunate to say the least, but yeah, the worst of it is just about over right now for Azure. I say that as 32 Lings are in production.
This is the problem, that the BC, it revealed itself and it's slowly coming across the map. So EnDerr has plenty of time to actually make queens, to throw down spores as well, to get his Spire up and running. He's just had enough of a heads up and he can just keep flooding Lings, right? Because he's finished droning for the time being. 66 drones is all he needs for now. Lings are going across the map and they're not amazing against Hellions, but they are if they get surrounds.
Yeah, they absolutely are. There is an armory now, so they can be morphed into Hellbats, but there's no smart servos hasn't been researched yet, so yeah, it's a little bit too late to transform them if the Lings get right on top of them. But you have enough Hellions, so it kind of doesn't matter what angle the Lings come in from. You're always shooting at them.
Not wrong, and that was a lot of Lings, to be fair. I'm afraid to look at the units lost tab, but yeah, 114 Lings in total have fallen in this game. That was a decent defense here by Azure. He's catching up in the worker count. The BC didn't pay for itself, but at least it's still alive. I am worried about the Mutas, though, because we're not ready for Mutas at all when it comes to the Terran side.
Yeah, there's no missile turrets. The only anti-air here is the BCs, which in fairness do decently well against Mutalisks. But that's if they can get in range of the Mutalisks. That's if they can, you know, get close enough to attack them. EnDerr doesn't need to fight this. You just keep going around, bouncing between mineral lines.
What he's doing. Baneling run-by is being set up. We have a 5th base on the way here for EnDerr. Mutas are coming out. Looking at the units tab, these 2 BCs are literally the only anti-air. I say, actually, there's 1 Marine in the main, I guess. 1 Marine chilling. Oh no! Okay, I thought the Marine was
It's gonna kill all the Mutas. Oh, no, it just died.
F's in the chat for Craig the Marine. He goes down. Baneling run by does end up connecting here in the natural and the third base. Muta's wreaking havoc in the main. Thor production has commenced. The BCs have to waddle back in.
Honestly, when it's all said and done, the Mutalisks were just a bit of a distraction here to help the Banelings crash into the workers and take just about every single one of them out, at least in the natural base. Got Yamato's, does cut down the Mutalisk count significantly, but Mutalisks are very cheap compared to BCs and whatnot.
Yeah, they really are, and EnDerr can kind of do whatever he wants right now. Kind of, like he's working on his 5th base, and his drone count is still working up towards 80, but there we go, he has finally broken that 80 threshold, and now he can start working on an actual army. He's been working on just harassment for a while now, but a Roach Horn is on the way. He, I imagine, wants to get into Roaches, Ravagers. I'm curious if he keeps making Mutas or if he switches into Corruptors.
That'd be cool if he kept making Mutas and got a couple of Vipers to complement that, you know, neutralize that weakness that Mutalisks have, which is very short range. But I do agree, Corruptors are just a lot better at dealing with BCs for one, and the fact that they can turn into Brute Lords later down the line gives them a lot more utility as well, or a little bit more utility.
Like, because we have Thors here, like, Mutas have kind of served their purpose. It's going to be difficult to get more value from them. But that's why we're switching into those Roaches. You know, they're on the way. Lingbane Roach Ravager is a great composition against mech, especially in the mid game. Do we have enough anti-air against all these BCs?
Yeah, we got a couple of Mutas. And by a couple, I mean a problem of Mutalisks.
Yeah, we got a problem with Mutas. You know, they do deal with one BC. Second BC has to teleport away soon as well. And eventually so will the third. Great value from Azure, though, especially with those Yamatos.
Yeah, he takes out a couple of units, and then he blinks away, not losing any of his BCs just yet. Corruptors on the way, however, along with +2 flyer weapons, and that, it's going to be about the end of the BC harass.
Yeah, but what about the Thors? Because Thors in high enough numbers, even Roach Lingbane can kind of struggle against them because they can kind of like body block for each other, and Roaches have a hard time busting through as well. Azure is doing a great job at just turtling here on these 4 bases. But the Viper does kind of change that dynamic.
A yoink, yoink here, and another there, and that, it kind of deletes the Terran mech army, or even Blinding Clouds.
Mm-hmm.
Either is a pretty good option right now for EnDerr.
Yeah, pick your poison. They both kill Terran and Protoss.
Yeah. And Zerg.
And Zerg. They're amazing spellcasters. Vipers are the MVP. EnDerr has to kind of refine his army a little bit though. Maybe he does want to work towards Brood Lords. He has a Hive, so he has access to the Greater Spire. These Mutas, we were talking about it before, they feel a little bit like Dead Supply. It would be good to see EnDerr try and get rid of them and refine his army a little bit more.
Yeah, I think there's a couple that he's trying to do that with right now, but the rest of them are just acting as a bit of a mobile defense force. I was honestly expecting a lot more drones to go down there. Huh.
Yeah. Great reaction from EnDerr. I mean, the creep spread is looking pretty good. That's why he can react in time, the way he is. Azure, once again, coming with his BCs, buying more time. Jesus, I'm shocked that he just did not stop Thor production, by the way. Oh.
Yeah, honestly, it's a little bit worrisome. It's also one of those units where you get a couple of them to deal with, to act as a bit of a counter, but they do hit a bit of a point of diminishing returns.
Yeah, I want to believe that. Hon Mono will say otherwise, but...
He would, but Hon Mono would also drop with the Thors.
True. And once again, I confused Hon Mono with Quanta. That's
Quanta, yes. I mean, Hon Mono did it once, but Hon Mono is the BC boy. Quanta is the Thor lad.
Yeah, there we go. There was some really nice Yamatos there, though. We didn't really get to point it out, but all 3 Vipers got Yamatos, so now they have to be rebuilt. So very nice target fire there by Azure, keeping all 3 of his BCs alive as well. Now he's starting to move out. Again, Azure is maxed. This is a scary Terran army slowly pushing out. The goal here, though, for Azure, I imagine, is getting a 5th up.
Yeah, he's slowly moving forward and securing his bases one by one.
Boy, Exactly. Meanwhile, EnDerr, he's just teching up, he's expanding, taking more bases, getting that map control, looking to outmine Azure and hopefully outtrade him. That's the plan anyway. Oh.
Corrupt just collapsing on top of the BCs. They're running out of room to cut away from, but the Thors, papi. Oof. There were a lot of them getting their AoE damage in.
Yeah, the Thors annihilated every single muta and a lot of those corruptors. EnDerr got 1 BC for that. And we can see the plummet in supply, but there we go. Immediately remaxing with 26 more roaches.
You'll love to see it. And you'll love to see a good yoink as well.
Yeah, but the teleport is a little bit too good. There we go. We see another yoink. We should see another teleport just in time.
Like, okay, not quite like that.
Yeah, we have it. And Azure, he's now cleared up enough creep where he can get his 5th up. Well, it's on the way. We'll see if he can hold on to it.
Yeah, I definitely have my doubts.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried here, though, because EnDerr still doesn't have a Greater Spire. I'm a little bit shocked by that. He made a bunch of roaches, but he doesn't have any Ravagers either. Like, this army, I don't know if I have too much faith in it. We'll see.
Yeah, honestly, before I saw just how impactful the Thors can be, I would have definitely disagreed there. I would have thought, yeah, no, EnDerr's got this, right? But now I'm not so sure.
Yeah, he's still working with 2-2 roaches, by the way. 3-3 is still on the horizon. +3 Carapace just finished up, and EnDerr knows that he can't really fight this. He is going to evacuate the base. Ooh, he's going to lose a couple of workers in the retreat. And Azure?
But it's better than losing his life.
True, true. Nice yoinks.
We'll do the Thors one by one. A couple of ghosts getting out now, which I definitely appreciate. Oh, the Vipers do throw down a couple of blinding clouds, but one Thor is able to snipe another one of those Vipers.
Yeah, it looks like the blinding clouds were good enough, though, because the roaches are going to be able to clean up the entire army of Azure here. Azure barely does get the hatchery for his troubles, but I was worried because Azure was pushing out without the backbone of his army. The tanks were left at home, the ghosts were left at home as well.
Yeah, which is definitely a little bit surprising, especially when you're going up against a player who has a lot of Vipers like that, you know? But yeah, it's just a little bit, I guess, a little bit of a, what's the word I'm thinking of here, like, something that you overlook?
Yeah, I want to say it was intentional as Azure scans the bottom right base and confirms where EnDerr is expanding. I want to say that Azure wanted to get rid of all of his Thors. I think he saw his Thor count and was like, I killed the mutas. I need to free up some supply and go for more ghosts instead. And I think that's the right call. You know, where's the meme? You know, Terran late game is so hard. We need ghosts to counter broodlords, to counter lurkers, to counter ultras, to counter infestors. Like, ghosts are kind of what we need right now.
Yeah, we're getting quite a number of them. We're even getting some nukes thrown down, and even more ghost academies for more nukes. You'll have to see it, or at least I do.
Oh yeah. At the same time, bit of a blue flame Hellion run by here towards the bottom right. Gets a surprising amount of drone kills, so very nicely done here by Azure. EnDerr has a massive bank, so he can afford these losses, but he has a massive bank for now. We'll see how long he can hold on to it. A lot of ultras have been made, and they're great to really collapse and engage on tank lines, especially with blinding clouds. They have been spotted by Azure. Can Azure stop this as nukes are on the way? There he's going in. The snipes.
Yeah, everything he's got. A lot of snipes. Even better EMPs as well. But the Vipers still able to get a couple of blinding clouds. Still able to get a couple of yoinks. In the end, though, that Zerg army could not match the sheer might of the Thors and the Ghosts. But the Lings were able to outspeed them.
Yeah, we saw a massive doom drop into the main base here. EnDerr may not have broken the 5th, but he is breaking the production line. Ghosts come back, though. Ghosts can even deal with Lings, apparently. The snipes were insane, by the way. I don't know if you saw, but the EMPs on all the Vipers, the snipes on all the Ultras as well. Azure handled that fight beautifully. He even counterattacks and takes down this base once again. Uh-oh. The Lings?
Yeah, the Lings are back, and they're here to hurt.
Yeah, the Lings get a full surround on the Thors, but the tanks to support is a little bit too much. Azure is going to be able to hold on. He's still maxed out, by the way. Meanwhile, EnDerr's trickling in, loses a Viper. Loses another, maybe even another Viper, huh?
We need to run a tally
Another
here.
Viper!
14 Vipers total. That's a new record, I think.
What? 14 Vipers have died this game!
Yep.
EnDerr.
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 Not like this, Papi, not like this. I mean, he still has a bank. Curpium.
Yeah, he's struggling to max out with that bank, though.
Oh my god. He is. Meanwhile, Azure just has to kind of regroup a little bit. Jeez, that's a lot of ghosts, man. And the problem is that... Yeah, and like, how do you deal with ghosts? Like, usually it's infestors. Usually. It's still hard because he's going ghost tank, and the tanks do cover and protect the ghost from infestors. So it's really difficult to like break these siege lines, which is why I really did appreciate the drop. But I think we need more of that, whether it's drops or Niduses. Like EnDerr breaking like the forward position just isn't gonna work.
Yeah, I guess I had to take a page out from Quanta's book.
As we do see a bit of a nuke here. Oh my god, no response, no response! Yaku, no! Ah!
It's all gonna go down. 13 drones, just like that. And even the extractor.
Oh my god.
Low health from before.
Yeah, even the extractor, another nuke here on the left-hand side of the map as well. Okay, this one has been spotted. There we go. EnDerr is going to be able to deal with this one at least. Oh god, despite having map control, he's having a hard time slowing down Azure. Azure, he didn't just get a 5th, he's getting a 6th. If this gets up and running, that's, I don't know how he can ever lose this, but we'll see. As EnDerr, he's pushing in once again.
Yeah, I'm not convinced in this location. Now there's even a planetary fortress going on there. I don't know what it is about this one location. EnDerr just really wants to break it.
Yeah, that's the problem with TvZ, right? We have so many choke points. Sorry, so many ramps, right? We have a ramps here going into the 3rd base, ramps outside the 4th as well. And as a defensive player, it's so difficult to break through. That's why Azure has been so efficient. He's been incredibly efficient, despite the banks. Like, he's just fighting back so much better.
He absolutely is. And now Azure is starting to accumulate a bit of a bank of his own now that he is trading a lot more efficiently. EnDerr, however, is remaxed fully, and he's remaxed with more army than workers.
Yeah, the thing I'm worried about is that EnDerr, that bank that we were talking about, Azure even has a higher mineral bank, which is crazy to think about. Gas does matter more for a mech player, but it's crazy to see how far he has come back. Meanwhile, we do see us around on these Thors. The snipes are coming in. There's not too much to snipe as we basically have a roach army. Oh my god.
Yeah, when there's when the numbers are too high, the snipes are kind of purposeless in a way, but apparently not. Everything has just gone down.
I'm shocked. It's almost as Azure is using these ghosts like Stim Marines. He just comes in and he just killed everything. It was crazy. He sniped every single roach, and he still has plenty of energy to spare.
Well, I believe.
Yeah.
There's a full Stim Marines coming down from him.
Oh my god. And just like that, EnDerr is out of minerals. He can't remax.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Azure, he can remax with Thors.
Yeah, he's getting a base. Like, that's the thing. Like,
he's getting a base.
You as a Zerg player in this matchup, the reality is that you have to stop the Terran player from taking their 5th, from taking their 6th. If that ever happens, then it's going to be so difficult to deal with. As we can see, Azure just has so much money to work with. But you know what? He's unsieged. He's unsieged.
Here comes a full surround. Blinding Cloud Stress for good measure, and the tanks get taken out. The ghost! Trying to get exposed!
Exactly, here we go. This is the move that EnDerr needed. He finally does collapse on top of all those tanks, on top of a lot of the ghosts as well. The majority of them survive, but that was a half-decent trade for EnDerr. Is it too late, though? Because, again, he still can't make an army.
Or can he?
That's
coming down now.
Yeah, we shall see. We do see the Roach is going to be denying a base here on the left-hand side. Ravagers have been morphed in. As you were saying, Infestors are being pumped out. Roach, Rav, Infestor. Maybe an army that EnDerr can work with. Ugh. I mean, again, we were talking about it before. Infestors are what you need to try and lock down these ghosts.
Speaking of locking down these ghosts, the nuke should still land. No! Just a second off. A couple of SCVs went down, though.
A couple of SCVs did go down. Maybe Azure freeing up a little bit of supply as he scans. Looks like top left is going to be the next base for him if ever he can take it. EnDerr has been able to remax. Does have Infestors now. Working on Neural. Can the Infestors get close to those ghosts, though? We need to see a fungal on those ghosts.
Yeah, something that can really cancel the snipes or literally anything right now. EnDerr has good eyes on the army. He knows that the ghosts are in the back, and he is looking to intercept them.
EMP! Snipe even!
Oh, decent EMP right at the end there, but there's still one Infestor with a lot of energy. A couple of Infestors with a lot of energy, actually, but they are nowhere near in position to cancel those snipes. Well played by Azure.
Yeah, exactly. Really well played there in the end. He will hold on again, take another trade. We only have a couple of fungals left. I believe 2 fungals left with this army. So EnDerr has to be really aware of that. He has to be really careful. He may have a lot of Infestors, but a lot of them can't really do much at all right now.
Yeah, he needs to wait for them to gather energy. They're not like Vipers that can just suck on buildings.
And Infestors, they can't suck. Unfortunately. Feels bad, man. Feels bad.
Yeah. Oh, what are you gonna do?
Meanwhile, Dropper Lords are being set up here. I thought maybe he would go for a drop, but no. Instead, he does dive on the opportunity. He will cancel this base once again for the second time.
May as well. And now he's max again with a bank.
He is. He has been able to survive long enough. There we go. Dropper Lords are being set up. He's going to be looking to try and go into the main base once again. He did go there earlier.
Oh. But look at those missile turrets.
True. We do have a lot of turrets there. Got to be careful. Azure has been really struggling to expand, surprisingly. He's got his CCs on the way. Oh, a couple of tanks are exposed.
Yeah, nice little free pick-off going on there. A lot of ghosts, though, and they started throwing in their snipes. Where were the Infestors? Is my question.
Yeah. Infestors a little bit too late to the party there. We saw one fungal, but it did whiff in the end. 25 more roaches are on the way. Azure, he's had enough. He's looking to push out on the map.
And we'll see if it does work out for him.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't want to overextend. He will back up. Siege up his tanks, rotate around. At the same time, the Doom Drop is coming in.
Surprisingly, it succeeds. Huh.
Only one, oh my god, only one of those Dropper Lords was sniped in the end by those missiles. At the same time, the main army is trying to break on through, but Azure was in position here. But does that matter because the Lings are in the main? There we go.
Yeah, completely disrupting the production lines right now. It's a bit of a mess, shall we say.
Yeah, the Lings are going to eventually be cleaned up. At the same time, EnDerr is pushing on towards the freshest base of Azure, hoping that maybe Azure was pulled apart. Maybe his defenses are a little bit weaker here. He's going to try and break through the planetary, but the Thors were ready and waiting.
Yeah, here they are now. Only a handful of SCVs will go down.
Yeah, exactly. And now Azure has finally cleaned everything up. He can focus on the attack. Hopefully focus on expanding. Again, it's taking him a really long time to take another base. I'm a little like he's got a CC ready for it, but he just hasn't gone for it yet.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't really been able to. And it keeps canceling that one base, and okay, at least the units do react in time.
Oh yeah, only a handful of units do go down here. Finally, Azure is taking his base on location. Again, for the third time. We'll see if he can get it. Oh my god, another nuke? Oh.
Yeah, apparently. That ghost is behind the mineral line.
There's a detection, he doesn't say. Oh! Ooh.
In the end, doesn't get that many overloads, but gets the entire gets the entire thing.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, here we go. EnDerr is rotating around to the left-hand side. He's forced to because of Azure. Azure is getting double expanding, or he's trying to double expand. This Overlord is being incredibly annoying. Hopefully, Azure can deal with it at some point. Maybe even long distance mine if he needs to. Yeah, a little bit annoying. He has to respond with his army.
Yeah, and it's a very slow, immobile army as well. And ghosts have some speed, but Thors, they do waddle.
They do waddle, and he actually doesn't turn around to deal with the Overlord.
Oh, bit of a miss. What? I think he thought he dealt with it already.
Yeah, maybe. So, oh god.
That's what it has to be.
At the same time, another Dropper Lord is being set up. Ooh, the missile turrets actually weren't rebuilt.
Yeah, there are a couple of Hellbats here, so EnDerr does have to be careful of where he lands the units, but other than that, it's not the biggest deals.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. Roaches, not Lings, this time in those Dropper Lords. At the same time, the main army tries to break up forward. He does clean up that missile turret wall, which is some value, don't get me wrong. Oh. And once again, the production has been a little bit compromised.
Yeah, what can EnDerr or Azure really build from here?
Oh, that's the question, as EnDerr is trying to break in towards a third base location. This time he does break through the planetary, is going to get on top of some of these tanks, but he's getting surrounded by the ghosts. Oh no!
It's not something I thought I'd hear anytime soon. The Biles only get one ghost in the end.
At the same time, we have a bit of a Ling run by on the left-hand side of the map. Ooh, tank line. Oh my god, tank fire is going to be able to clean it up, though, in the end.
It's still there.
It's still there. Someone kill this goddamn Overlord. Ah!
Those two Zerglings who are getting so many SCVs. They're still getting SCV kills. Queen's Ghost starting to get surrounded a little bit.
Yeah, they have to be a little bit careful. Oh my god, we finally see a big fungal.
That was the money fungal. That was a great EMP. There's still a couple of Infestus with energy on them. The Roaches come in to clean up the rest of the Ghosts. And Azure, he's still in this game, but not for much longer if these neural parasites have anything to say about that.
Oh my god, the neurals are real as well. Two Thors get taken over. EnDerr finally takes one massive fight. And it's huge, mate. Just like that, Azure plummets in supply. He doesn't have the gas. He's been needing this base towards the top left for so long, and he never got it.
Never able to get it, yeah. Now, Azure has identified that, EnDerr doesn't really have much of an army remaining. He needs a couple of minutes to really remax, so he's trying to take advantage of that. But who says EnDerr needs to fight that army?
Exactly, he goes for harassment instead. He's going to be able to focus on this planetary fortress. The repair is not good enough. Azure has been broken. He was doing so well this entire game, but again, he lost more than half of his ghosts, and he just couldn't afford that. Not at all. He has 0 gas right now.
Literally 0. He can only make Marines.
Yep.
And that's what he's doing, yeah.
Yeah, Marines and
6
Hellions.
barracks, Marines, Hellions. Stim is on the way. This is how Azure comes back. I don't see any Bailings.
The 0-0 Marines, let's go. Oh, sorry, the 2-3 Marines. Never mind, he actually got upgrades for his ghosts. Oh my god.
There we go.
Yeah.
Max out on Marines. That's all you need.
That's all you need.
He's killing the drones.
He is killing the drones, Copians.
Yeah.
Oh god, the Roach counterattack is too much. The Marines and Hellions just can't hold on, not anymore. Azure is running out of even a mineral bank, and
yeah, these Marines are very brave. Not very strong though.
Yeah, oh, but he actually kills every single infestor in the middle of the map. And this This ghost army is still a thing. Like, he can still take a fight.
It is still a thing.
Oh, no,
There's gonna be supplement. No, not against. Not against Roaches. So, but there's no detection.
There's no detection. Oh my god, is it gonna be enough?
No. I'm not sure if that was intentional, but I like that. EnDerr was drawing a bit of friendly fire from the tanks to the ghosts.
Yeah, it was helping out a little bit. In the end, the ghosts end up retreating. Oh my god, this is so scrappy. Both players have very few workers to work with, but EnDerr does have the bank. That's the problem. He can still rebuild his army.
He can still rebuild his army. He's rebuilding his economy right now, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, exactly. He's working on another base. He's trying to find a way in, trying to find a way to break through all of these lines. Meanwhile, Azure long distance mining as best he can.
He still has dealt with that.
Ah.
How is that allowed to exist? This is the juiciest, the freshest base as well.
I know.
Literally,
This was a free base. This
wow.
was a free base for Azure, and he just never got it. He took the harder base first, which was this one.
Yeah. Well, Azure, he likes a challenge. What can I say?
He does, and here we go. The roaches dive on top of these ghosts. Ghosts that will not ever be rebuilt here. EnDerr, after a long 35-minute game, has finally done it. We had to get rid of all those pesky ultras. Ultras was not the way. It was all about the roach rav infester, mate. That's it.
Yeah. Why have few big units when you can have many small units?
There you go. It's the way of the Zerg.
It's martial art.
Oh my god. EnDerr even expanding in the face of Azure. GG.
And that was the tipping point there. GG. EnDerr takes game number 1. Let me remind everybody, this is game number 1 of a best of 3. This isn't the lower bracket finals yet. Yeah, it's not. The lower bracket semifinals.
What the hell did we just watch, mate? What even?
We just watched the TvZ of a lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Crazy. GG, well played. Congratulations to EnDerr for taking the first game. An intense game at that. It was very back and forth. Let's be real. There were moments where EnDerr was ahead. There were moments where Azure was ahead. The pendulum just kept swinging back and forth.
There were moments where I thought for sure EnDerr was gonna win, and then he didn't, and then I thought, okay, now Azure is gonna win, and then he didn't, and I was like, oh, okay, we're in it for the long haul.
We were in it for the long haul. Jesus Christ. Oh boy. And yeah, I hope our players aren't too fatigued after that game as we're getting ready for game number 2. Very long game on Day to see. Oh boy, I'm almost spent after that.
That's how data rolls. Yeah. Oh boy. And now we're gonna get into game number 2. And if I know anything about Azure Light, I know that after a long, grueling game like that, he's just gonna proxy.
Oh boy. I can't wait. That's what I want as well, I'll be honest. Let's go.
And then the ace match is gonna be another long, grueling game. That's just Azure for you. You know, he's very versatile.
I should update the...
And he uses it.
Yeah. Very versatile indeed. Here we go. We are diving into game number 2. We were talking about it before. Azure, he's a jack of all trades. He can do so much. He doesn't just have to rely on something like mech. He can also be a bio player, you know, and even then he can go 1-1-1, he can go 2-1-1, he can do it all.
Yeah. Plenty of styles in his wardrobe as we continue our best of 3 series here on Tropical Sacrifice. I almost said LE again. We're here in the bottom left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom left-hand corner. We, of course, have a blue Terran player coming out from the land of Brisbane. He is, of course, the Prince of Brisbane. I guess the regent now for a little thingy bit. He is, of course, going to be representing Team Opus V. He is Azure.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Tropical Sacrifice ESL, we have the Filipino Zerg player himself representing the Juggernauts. It is EnDerr.
Okay, so that prediction hasn't quite come to fruition yet.
Yeah, the Rax is at home, unfortunately.
For now.
Feels bad, man. Feels bad.
It's at home for now. He's gonna float it over.
It's gonna
to the proxy location.
Yeah. He's gonna float it across the map. You know, EnDerr, he's not gonna see it coming.
Yeah. You know, EnDerr, he has the Overlord. You know, check the proxy locations. Well, it actually didn't, but you know.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what Azure has in store for us. Again, my heart goes out to him, to both players, to be fair, because that was a really intense game. I know that can be really draining as well, and unfortunately, this isn't a qualifying match. You know, like we got so many more games ahead of us.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is only a best of 3, so you don't really have as many opportunities to really come back after a scenario. Well, after a long game like that, but at the same time, after a long game like that, would you as a player want to keep going in a longer best of 5 or something like that? It entirely depends on how much stamina the player is able to develop over time.
Yeah, it's all about that stamina, mate. Can you play? Can you marathon StarCraft for over 4 hours? That is the question. Meanwhile, for the time being, decent micro here. Gonna try and get a kill in some of these drones. Can he get one? Can he get a third? Can he get up?
Oh! We're at the point where he's
coming back in.
Lost minerals from the refund costs more than a drone itself, and even then, that KDA charge able to take out the weakened drones as well. That's some fancy micro, and the Reaper still lives!
The Reaper lives, mate. That charge got 2 kills. That was crazy. Oh my, the charge barely does any damage as well. That's how low HP those drones were. So very nice micro from Azure. Very nice opener here, and something that's a little bit odd that Azure is taking note of is that EnDerr still on 2 bases.
Yeah, you normally see a drone come out at this point in the 3rd base locations, waiting to get another base. We don't see that from EnDerr, and now we find out why.
Oh, yeah, exactly, because we see 16 Lings on the way. He's going to go for a bit of a Ling Flood. He has finished droning for the time being. It looks like the Reaper goes in. He wants to see if there's a Roach Warren. That's like the major thing that he's concerned about. He's played against Gogojoy before. And Miyamika. The Juggernaut.
And Demi.
And Demi. He confirms that there is no Roach Warren as far as he can tell, but there's something else coming his way. Oh no.
Yeah, and this time it's the same opening coming out from Azure. It's so same that he doesn't have a wall here in the natural base, but he is a bit more prepared with the Hellions. He's got them in a choke point. He is kiting to the best of his abilities. A couple of SCVs go down. Supply depot goes down. Could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, that was honestly really good for Azure. Like 4 SCVs and a depot for all those Lings. I mean, well worth it, especially because EnDerr's economy isn't looking that amazing. Like, sure, he's droning up, but he's still on 2 bases. He's still struggling to get this 3rd up and running. And, Blue Flame is on the way.
Very early Blue Flame. Wow. Medevac being taken after the Viking Light. Do we see an armory? I don't see one yet. Will we see one?
Do we need one? I know I know Asher and Azure were theory crafting about if you go Blue Flame, is it even worth getting a Hellbat? Like, because the Hellions do that much more bonus damage and they're even more mobile, so it may be worth just using them to run past the army and just go for mineral lines instead. We'll see how well this will work, as he's going for Hellion drops.
Wow. Even keeping a couple of Hellions on the ground as well. One to defend here, and eventually, I imagine, to go for a bit of a multi-prong. EnDerr being a little bit sneaky with his Lings. Trying to send him around.
Yeah, they're hiding here towards the top left-hand side. That second wave of Hellions are moving out across the map. Thankfully, the wall is the wall, and we do have reinforcements here, so these Lings shouldn't be able to do too much. It's the Hellions that I'm worried about. It's the Hellions that are looking to deal a lot of damage. So I'm going to go with the Baileys!
Do immediately crash into the Hellions. Wow. What a denial.
Oh my, I am shooketh, but at the same time, Hellions are also in the main base. 6 drones already. Oh my god! The drones almost line up. The Baileys are here though, and once again, we need to see a split, Puppy. Can we split? We
see a bit of a split. Yeah, so not too bad here for Azure, but yeah, it could have been a whole lot worse for EnDerr as well.
Yeah, that was honestly really nice bailing positioning on top of that ramp. He was waiting for anything to come up that ramp, whether it was Blue Flame Hellions or even regular Hellions. And EnDerr, that was a really good defense.
It really was. Yeah, Hellions still trying to get some more damage done, and they get a couple of kills here and there. What worries me is that Mutalists are already on the way for EnDerr, and I don't believe Azure scouted that Spire.
Yeah, that is a good question. The Spire is here at the natural base looking at the vision of Azure. He has not seen it. He does not know. His drop is still being active though, but Lings are already waiting for him.
Yeah, generally pretty well with these Hellions, but once the Mutalists are out like so, this is just about going to shut down the harass, the Hellions in the medevac as well. And what's the anti-air situation looking like for Azure back home?
That's a good question. Our anti-air is 7 Marines, stimless Marines though, so they're going to have a hard time keeping up.
Man with gun, you know?
Yeah. Marines are okay, but 4 SCVs go down. Ooh, if EnDerr wants to, he can fight these Marines. That's exactly what he's doing.
He absolutely wants to. And so that's what he's doing. Middle line is kind of forfeit.
Exactly. The rest of the army is coming on over as well. He's trying to do whatever he can. The depot, sorry, the Mistart is on the way, but it's not going to be done in time. 10 workers go down, and all those Marines. Oh.
Yeah, and they're coming back with a massive vengeance here.
And he's not done. You know, behind this, he's working on his upgrades. Mutas are still looking for more damage, and they're going to find more damage. The turret is still not done. Finally, it finishes up, but not before 4 more workers go down. Azure really struggling to keep up. Finally, he does have stim, and he's looking to maybe hit a 1-1 timing. But he lost so many Marines, you know?
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of his only hope. Now, he does still have a decent number of Blue Flame Hellions, and there's that much on the ground, but you know, saying that, I realize that that means that the main threat is the Mutalists. So you know, we're currently in a situation where it's 68 drones to 54 SCVs. At this point, if you're Azure, pull the boys.
Ah. Oh my god! I mean, this is the few times where I agree with you, Yaku.
Yeah.
Oh god! But the problem with that is that we have an armory, so it looks like we want to see 2-2 starting up for Azure. It looks like he wants to slow the game down instead of going for an all-in, and that's another way that you can come back here. It looks like he's, yeah, just planning to try and turtle as hard as he can.
Yeah, I mean, what more can you really do as the Terran player? Well, you could go for that all in if you wanted to go for a gamble, but no, if you're a player like Azure, you know, a good player like Azure, then you know, you want to be able to macro back up from this situation, and this is pretty much the only way you can do that.
Yeah, pretty much. And we've talked about it before, this triangular threat is pretty defensible because of the rocks, not just the rocks, sorry, the choke point, the ramp as well. Like, Azure is pretty well fortified. The problem is that, similar to the last game, it's going to be a difficult task to expand further from here, just because EnDerr has so much like map control right now. He also finds a couple of Baneling connections here. Yeah, Azure, he's going to have a hard time moving out, but maybe actually looking to push out.
He's got a decent tank count. He kept his Marines alive. Actually, I think the Marines from the drop got taken out, but he has a decent amount of Marines, enough to deter the Mutalists, at least for a little while.
I think the tank count is the most impressive thing. Meanwhile, the Mutas are, oh my god, already getting caught out. 1 Muta goes down for free. Gonna force Azure to respond to that, but he has a lot of tanks. What is this, 5 tanks?
And he's not slow sieging. He's just not sieging.
Yeah. Oh my god, exactly.
Oh, that could be an issue.
We'll see here as he does finally siege up. A couple of his Marines are caught out here because of those tanks, but there we go. He rotates around towards the right-hand side instead. Oh, can he find a way in? EnDerr has bought a lot of time to make more Ling Bane, though.
Yeah, and honestly, this position is easily surroundable for the Zerg player. 2 ramps that lead into the Terran army. And EnDerr's just setting that up right now.
Yeah, we have massive Ling Bane army towards the south, and he's coming on in from behind. He's trying to collapse on top of these tanks. Can he get them? The tanks are exposed.
Yeah, and the tanks get a little bit of friendly fire as well. The Banelings are pretty far off creep, honestly, so the Marines have no problem splitting against them. There are a couple more Banelings here, and they are on creep, but Azure, he's just gonna kite back and hot pick up where he needs to. The tanks did get taken out, though.
They did, and the Muta Cloud is still alive, still ready and waiting. Looks like he wants to dive in with his links. Is this going to be enough? No, the man with gun is too good. He's doing it, Yaku.
Tamed Marines with 2-2. He didn't even need to pull the boys. EnDerr's the one pulling his boys and losing his boys. GG is called. Azure ties up our series sideways 1-1.
GG. I was so worried when I saw 2-2 starting. But what's interesting is that +2 finished in the middle of that fight. I was worried that Azure was going to wait at home and wait for a timing with that +2, but he was a lot more, I guess, not just aggressive, but like he was much more desperate in a way. But it was a good thing.
Yeah.
He was like, I gotta go. I gotta go now.
Yeah. He knew that was his only path to victory, so he focused entirely on that. And it worked out for him, He didn't need to split his focus. Or, well, if he could split his focus, he would have. But it was better that he didn't.
Yeah. I was just so shocked by the tank count as well. How many there were and what it took for EnDerr to deal with all of that as well. Sure, they all went down in the end, but like it did cost a lot of lings, it cost a lot of mutas to make that happen. And the Marines were what stood strong in the end. That's what won Azure the game.
The man with gun.
Man with gun.
It's a similar philosophy that he had in the previous game on TvZ, towards the end there. Just make mass Marines, but of course in that game he wasn't able to really pull it off. This time though, he did.
This time he did.
No. Now what did I tell you, like, after a long one, you got a short one.
Was that short? Was that...
Yeah, it's pretty short.
Yeah. Compared to the first game, you're not wrong. Oof. And we'll see where things go from here as we are loading into game number 3. The ace match. This is where it all ends.
Yeah, this is the... I almost said the pre-qualifying match, but it's the pre-qualifying match. Winner of this will have to go up against Meal Micah in the lower bracket finals as we conclude our best of 3 match here on Inside and Out. That was known as the Gate Pizza map. Here in the top right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top right-hand corner, we have the blue Terran player coming out from the land of Brisbane. He is, of course, the Prince of Brisbane, representing Opus V. He is Azure. Hi.
Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Inside and Out ESL, we have the Filipino Azure player himself representing the Juggernauts. It is EnDerr.
So if you look at the lava,
I still don't understand what you're on about. It looks like pizza?
burnt pizza. Yeah.
Did Gabe burn his pizza?
Yeah.
How do you
He set off
burn?
the fire alarm.
How do you burn pizza?
Ask Gabe.
How? God, shaking my head. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting map. It's something that I don't really notice too much, but like there's a weird like dichotomy here is that we have lava and things are on fire, but there's also snow. Yeah.
It's the ice and fire,
It's weird.
If you want to go really deeper down, there's probably water with the lava as well.
Yeah, right? If there's ice, there has to be water.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And there are trees as well.
And
Actually, there's
trees.
vegetation.
Yeah.
How does anything grow
What?
on this map?
I mean, ash is meant to be really like fertile, right? Like the ground around like a volcano is meant to be really fertile, but
I don't see any ash. I see. Oh, it's not snow. It's white ash.
also I don't know if it's ash that's fertile. I don't think ash is fertile, but like the ground surrounding volcanoes is meant to be fertile, right? Am I crazy? Do I know what I'm talking about?
No, you know what you're talking about. It's like sometimes like farmers will burn down like old crops to make it better for the new crops.
Yeah.
Instead of just cutting it down.
Right.
Although I think that might be because they don't want it to compete, and less because the ground is fertile. One drone goes down.
Do not take our farm. If you're farming in the chat, don't listen to. Look up a YouTube guide, okay?
Yeah, look at the Stardew Valley wiki.
There you go. Play some Stardew Valley. We don't.
Yeah.
We don't farm. There's no farmland in Singapore. It's a cyber city. It's a cyber forest.
Yeah, exactly. That's farm water.
There you go.
These are fish farms.
True.
But there's no farm land. That's why we were panicking when Malaysia increased the price of chickens. That's a real thing that happened. Look at
what is happening to us, Yaku? Oh no!
It's been a long casting day. Well, for you, it's been a long casting day.
We have another cast after this, Yaku. We have another one. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Alright, well, speaking about the game, we do have a 1-1-1 opening here. No third CC before Starport, so a lot more aggressive coming out from Azure, delaying his CC even further here. This is what we were talking about. Throws down 2 more Raxes instead.
Yeah, very dedicated timing coming in right now from Azure. He's just going to be building up towards that eventual, I imagine, 1-1 push, but I don't see any E-base just yet.
Yeah, and this scout is pretty important. Here we go. Pneumatized Carapace just finished up. So EnDerr with Overlord Speed goes in. He confirms, oh, there is no third hatchery. We do have a bigger investment into production. I do have to worry a little bit more about a push. I can't be too greedy.
Yeah, which is what I like to see. Coming down here from EnDerr.
Yeah, it's also, you know, like EnDerr and greedy, like that's not really a thing, you know, like he's...
Yeah. EnDerr is a saint, you know?
Yeah.
He doesn't commit that sin of greed.
There you go. He isn't he's not all about that gluttony.
Yeah. You know? He's not proud. In fact, maybe he should be a bit more proud, but he could afford to be a bit more proud, but you know, he's not that proud. He's Saint Caviar.
He's a humble guy. Saint Caviar Napoleon. Let's go. Meanwhile, we do see the lair finishing up. We do see +1 carapace on the way. We should be seeing Baneling speed as soon as we have the gas for it, as EnDerr is trying to make up for that with 2 additional gases. That is natural, just to rush that. And with that, he will be prepared for the push that still isn't coming. We're waiting for our medevacs, and we'll see how many tanks we have with this. We're gonna have at least 3, maybe 4 tanks. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's a very powerful push coming down, or being set up right now from Azure. EnDerr, again, he has scouted this, and he does recognize what's coming his way, so he has cut drones for the time being. He is building a ton of links, and whenever he can spare the gas, he'll build a couple of banelings, but the priority numero uno for EnDerr is whole lot of links.
Yeah, exactly. And here we go. We do see Baneling speed already more than halfway done. The crease spread is looking immaculate right now. It's going to slow down the push of Azure. Behind this, he is going for a third, so it's not like he's all in. But regardless, this push has to deal damage, and I don't know if it can. Oh my god, as EnDerr is coming in.
Oh, EnDerr, he's recognized that Baneling speed hasn't finished up yet. I was worried about a pathing issue for a second. Not gonna lie, light, but yeah, these Banelings are safe for the time being. And these Marines are looking pretty exposed. The tanks have sieged up though, so they will be able to support the Marines. Azure being very careful not to overextend.
He unsieges, and that does get spotted here by EnDerr. He doesn't pull the trigger yet. He does have Bane here on the left and right hand side, ready to collapse on the army if Azure pushes onto creep.
If he does, but for the time being, Azure, he's just trying to bait EnDerr off of creep. EnDerr's not taking that bait. Now he is.
Oh my god, we're setting up for a full surround. EnDerr coming in from all angles, swallowing up the army. We even have queens to focus down those medevacs. The tanks all go down.
That was a masterful defense here. Coming out from EnDerr, losing a couple of Banelings there, but not a big deal at the end of the day. It just goes to show you how much you can really get done when you scout what's coming for you early on.
Yeah, now EnDerr goes for a mass counterattack. He gets a surround on this tank. This all can be saved by these medevacs. Decent micro here by Azure, but it's not going to be enough.
I looked at the mini-map line. I saw a massive chunk of red just zooming across the map, and that's how I knew all hope was lost here for our blue Terran player.
Ooh, exactly. Oh, the Bailings roll on in as well. They will connect in the mineral line. The Lings do get stopped here at the natural base, but so many workers have gone down. GG gets called, and EnDerr takes the series 2-1.
Oh, got my phone. EnDerr will snuff out the hopes of every Terran player watching right now, hoping to have a Terran representative represent the region over at TSL, and will move on to the lower bracket finals to face Mio-Micah.
Oh boy, that he will. The ZVZs are real, papi. We are going to be getting into Mio-Micah versus EnDerr, winner versus Demi. The Zerg-Muta triangle in Southeast Asia is all that remains. ZVZ, welcome to the region, people.
Yep. It's not C, it's ZVZ.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, that was a really well fought series again. Game 1 was wild. It could have gone either way. It could have been a 2-0 for Azure.
Yeah.
It could have been a 2-0. There's a universe out there where that is the reality, but that is not this universe. And yeah, I hope Azure doesn't
reality retired.
He did retire. Feels bad.
Yeah.
But I hope Azure doesn't feel too bad about his performance. Like he did really well for himself. And taking it to the ace match against EnDerr isn't easy. It isn't easy.
Yeah. I think he knew a little bit that he was kind of the underdog coming into this tournament as well, and honestly, he's made it. I was expecting somebody like Pez or someone to make it a little bit further here, so I'm really glad that. I hope Azure is satisfied with the result here. I know I'm definitely very impressed, and yeah, with that, that will kind of conclude that TvZ series. We are going to get set up for a ZVZ series.